Settings, time, and place are units for measuring humanity and nature. Our actions and movement are measured in time and placed in space. When we look around ourselves, we understand that we're not only concerned about the well-being of our relatives, but also our neighbors. We need them. Whatever language we use, the word human carries a complex truth. The human is a noble creature. Human-centered work is one of the noblest deeds one can do. Human beings grow through many ups and downs in life. And while the likes of us face dangers because of man-made or natural events, standing by the side of victims is heavenly. Action for the Needy Ethiopia, ANE, is an indigenous humanitarian organization that stands for these values in partnership with Ethiopian government, UN agencies, embassies, donor countries, and organizations.
During our establishment, ANE had only even not more than 3 or 4 staff members, but now it grows up, and currently we have over 700 employed staffs in 10 operational areas.
The main donor for ANE humanitarian projects in Ethiopia are the United Nations High Commission for Refugees.
It is a local NGO which has created the capacity to expand itself to neighboring countries too. That is the goal we have set, and this organization has around 640 very professional workers which are working in different parts of the regions where the internally displaced, the needy, the refugees from neighboring.
In Ethiopia, ANE's humanitarian program covers provision of food and core relief items, CRIs, health, water, sanitation, and hygiene, WASH, shelter and infrastructure, education, livelihood, emergency services, environmental protection, energy, and psychosocial support for people with specific needs to meet the basic need of refugees, drought-affected host communities, and returnees from internal displacement.
The humanitarian situation in Ethiopia remains very high humanitarian situation, requiring more assistance, which is more funding it requires for the interventions by the international and the donor communities we have. So shortage of funding is one of the major challenges, addressing the assistance, covering the gaps, the huge gap of the country in all operational areas. Action for the Needy was able to establish the first humanitarian partnership with UAE Embassy in Ethiopia. Under this support, Action for the Needy had executed successful clothes distribution for more than 6,000 vulnerable people in different parts of the country.
Since its founding, Action for the Needy, ANE, has done various humanitarian deeds in all parts of Ethiopia. It has effectively used the finance it gets from its partners, mainly UNHCR and AHRA.
In 10 years before, up to the current organizational growth and achievement on its overall humanitarian and development program in Ethiopia, the role of Refugee and Returnee Service, RRS, and United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, which is UNHCR, has been taking the most fundamental and primary share in the impact, the daily living conditions of the most people of need we jointly serve in the country.
These projects benefited quite a number of refugees from neighboring countries, returnees from internal displacement, and vulnerable host communities. One of the best examples of these deeds is the support that it provides to South Sudanese refugees that fled the war in their countries who are now sheltered at refugee camps established in Gambella Regional State.
Action for the Needy has a specialized the thematic areas of the provision like food, nutrition, non-food item, emergency shelter, health, water, sanitation and hygiene, which is WASH, infrastructure, education's livelihood, protection, emergency service, environmental protection, energy, as well as psychosocial support for people with specific needs.
The South Sudanese refugees that are sheltered in the Nungyel camp testify how their lives were eased because of the gravel road that ANE built for them using funding resources obtained from UNHCR and
I fled the war in my country, South Sudan, and ended up in this camp. We faced many challenges, but now we're living peacefully. We have food and shelter. Our children also go to school.
We are alive because we came here. We are at peace now. Annie is hugely supporting me and my family. It constructed roads for us.
Annie has done immense development projects in the camp between 2017 and 2019. It has built us roads, water supplies, as well as various shelters. The shelters have saved the refugees from the rain, the sun, cold, as well as theft. We are always happy with what Annie is doing for us.
Apart from projects in Gambella, ANE also has various humanitarian projects in Benishangul-Gumuz, Oromia, Somali, South Nations, Nationalities and Peoples, Tigray, and Afar regions. Under its Bulehora Field Coordination Office in Bulehora Town, ANE provides support to refugees, returnees from internal displacement, and vulnerable host communities. This Megado refugee camp hosts many refugees from Kenya. Ethiopia hosts hundreds of thousands of refugees from its neighboring countries with an open hand, supported by humanitarians like ANE and its partners, UNHCR and ARA.
The Megado camp shelters migrants came from 5 different areas in Kenya. ANE has provided these refugees with shelters, clean drinking water, and cattle so that they can sustain their lives. The refugees are happy because of this.
Currently, ANE is solving the drinking water problem in the Megado refugee camp by providing water using tanker trucks, and the community is grateful for this.
We used to drink river water. Many members of our family also suffered from waterborne diseases because of that, and we traveled far for more than 10 kilometers to fetch the water. But now ANE has solved our problems by supplying us water carried by our water trucks.
ANE has built residences, latrines, and washrooms as well as mills for the community use in the Moyale area Mogade refugee camp. Consequently, working on the conservation of nature, ANE has provided environmental protection services, sheep, and goats for Kenyan Borena refugees to improve their livelihood. And the refugees are happy because of this. In partnership with the Ethiopian government and UNHCR, ANE has also hugely contributed to the rehabilitation of returnees from internal displacement in the West Guji Zone, Oromia region, and Gedio Zone, SNNP region, one who fled conflicts. Furthermore, ANE has built houses and worked on environmental conservation for the better benefit of society.
በአጠቃላይ ስናይ ወደ 350 የሚሆኑ ሼልተሮችን ነው የሰራው።
In the West Guji zone, ANE has constructed 350 houses in 2 districts for 850 displaced households. Apart from this, it has supported the displaced people as well as the host community by providing various food items. It also planted trees on 4 hectares of land.
ከዚህ ቀደም ተማሪዎቻችን ሲማሩ የነበረው
Students used to sit in mid-wall classes with, but now, because Anne has built this comfortable Bahia school, students who even had dropped out of school have resumed their education.
I want to thank Anne for enabling 2,200 students to get educated in this school since 2018. That's commendable.
Anne is also working hard for the sustainable reinstatement of returnees from internal displacement from Gedio zones, Gelcha, Kebele.
In the conflict that happened in Gedio and Guji areas, huge amount of property had been damaged. Understanding this problem, Anne has built and provided houses for the residents so that they resume their peaceful life.
Anne has also built and put in service a full-fledged hospital in Bulehora for the society to get standard health services. This is a testimony that Anne, along with the Ethiopian government and UNHCR, does not only stand for humanity, but also it has an egalitarian establishment.
Anne built this hospital within 3 months, and it has hugely solved the society's health service problems. Especially, women and children have benefited from the construction of the hospital.
Anne has been working as the protector of the demised and shelter to the displaced since 2012.
The management team at all levels is very crucial for other CSOs, which they should take. Very dynamic and constructive. This also will matter. Thirdly, this is also for action for the needy to play major roles in adopting the most workable and flexible strategies and policies.
Anne is equally serving both Ethiopians and refugees through road construction, clean water provision, housing construction, schools and hospital construction, as well as environmental protection and resettlement work. For this success, Anne is grateful for partners that worked along with it, including in financing the projects.
After the establishment, we are celebrating 1 decade. Anne would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all its donors for the successful implementation of the projects, like Ethiopian government counterparts, SO, RRS, DRMC, and the major and the best donors that Anne has, UNHCR, and others that recently joining us the last 3-4 years. We have also gained other partners, other new partners, like we were working like WFP, UN OCHA, IOM, USAID, embassies and other UN agencies and international donors. I would like also to convey my thanks to them as well.
A&E, reaching and serving the most in need.
Jangan